Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Kasama po natin ulit, of course, ito yung isa sa ating mga legal luminaries kasi marami pala tayong legal luminaries. We have been very lucky to have at least two justices or former justices on this show. The other day we had Justice Ascuna going back to the 1987 Constitution. Hindi ko pa alam, Justice Carpio. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Justice Ascuna was involved in not one but two different constitutions pala.
Yes, two.
But
Two.
two. So I was suggesting, why not let's make it lucky three? So maybe we can discuss charter change later on as we discuss.
Baka umabot siya.
Oh, I mean, thank God he's sharp and strong. So I'm saying you never know, right? Baka pwede pa yung number three, lucky three. Sana the next one will be better because some people are wondering maybe we need amendments, maybe we need changes. Hindi naman siguro yung People's Initiative type na narinig natin the other year or the Duterte type. But let's see, let's see. But before going there, Justice Carpio, the reason why I always felt it's important to come back to you whenever I see anything deeply worrying about any democracy, whether it's in the U.S., whether it's in Europe, is because you have been always warning about a breakdown in the constitutional order, at saka yung fear ng revolutionary government or a constitutional crisis. Now, as we speak, obviously it's not a totally similar case, but there are a lot of similarities. Let's talk about Indonesia. Is that a cautionary tale to the Philippines? Just to remind people, Prabowo Subianto is the son-in-law of the former dictator Suharto. He was involved as a former commando in human rights violations and for a time could not enter the United States. He became the president the other year. Nag-unity team siya. Ang vice president niya yung anak ng dating president si Joko Widodo, right? The only difference is Joko Widodo helped this unity team unlike Tatay Digong who kept on bashing BBM even if kasama siya sa unity team na anak niya. Well, anyway, to cut the story short, there are many similarities between Philippines and Indonesia in terms of yung precarity, underemployment, bad pace, and not to mention katrapuhan and corruption. So Justice Carpio, as someone who has been warning about the revolution government constitutional crisis, what comes to your mind when you watch Indonesia, considering iba pa rin siyang konteksto on so many levels, but also that we have a lot of similarities?
Well, I think we have to take that seriously because the corruption, because the rioting there was triggered by the increase in the perks of the parliamentarians, but uh, that's small change compared to what our lawmakers got in the flood control projects. I mean, uh, those were just maybe two or three times their salary. You cannot really increase salaries too much. But compared to what the flood control project here, the corruption in the flood control project, that was small change. That's small change. What is happening but it struck a raw nerve in among the masses, no. But that's why I think if uh, if the administration does not respond correctly to the current anger of the people over the flood control projects, we might be in for something similar. So this has to be addressed correctly by the administration.
Well, yeah, just to put things into context, we're talking about the several $1,000s in increases in the perks of the legislators. There was a protest against that, and then during the protest, the police forces used excessive force that led to the death of isang, I think, Gojek driver, which is their version of, or I think really Grab driver, hindi lang Gojek driver. So that really brought home the fact na walang respeto ang mga political establishment sa buhay at dignidad ng mga ordinaryong Indonesians. And next thing you know, there's this total explosion all across the country. Students, Grab drivers, Gojek drivers, all sorts of ordinary people coming in. Justice Carver, you just said negligible number. Now, I was looking at the numbers. I went back to my article in 2013 about the Napoles issue, the mother of all scams. The amount was 10 billion pesos. Kanina lang, I saw on South China Morning Post an article about our current scandal. It's almost $10 billion. So, Justice Carpet, this is almost 50 times worse corruption.
Yes.
than the mother of all scams. So kung may Napoles dati ngayon, Nepoles na ngayon, yung mga Nepo kids. I mean, things are getting really bad, Justice Carpio, over the past decade.
Yeah, the way I look at it, remember the worst corruption happened during martial law under Marcos Sr. And this will be the next worst corruption after that, even maybe bigger than what happened in martial law. It's still under Marcos regime again. So, and the president, the incumbent president, wanted to redeem the name of Marcos. But I think if he does not act correctly here, it will really damage further the family name. He has to, uh, because he cannot get away from this. Remember what Bonoan said, that the Congress inserted 450 billion in uh, in pork barrel projects for flood control, for road reblocking, etc. But she said it's actually 600 billion, and the president only vetoed 29 billion out of 450 if you base it on Bonoan's figures, and out of 600 billion if you base it on the amount mentioned by Chis Escudero. So if this flood control projects happened, the ghost projects, it's because he did not veto the entire 450 billion. I mean, everybody knew it was a pork barrel.
He has also a responsibility. Yeah, exactly. He has
Yes, he will be responsible for this. He has to address this because he had a chance to. He did not propose this in his national expenditure program for 2025. So the Congress remove the allocation for PhilHealth, put it in the pork barrel of DPWH, remove the budget for purchase of computer equipment from DepEd, put it, and then for the AFP modernization, totally removed it, put it also, and also for the 4K for the of DSWD, transferred it. So he cannot escape responsibility for this because he could have vetoed everything, and then so the money is not allocated. He will require now a supplementary budget to correct everything. But so this happened because the response, instead of vetoing the entire insertion of 450 or 600 billion, depending on whose figure you accept, instead of vetoing all of them, he just vetoed a small slice. It was symbolic only. So that means he accepted this insertion. He owned it. So he has really to do something about this.
Yeah, in short, he cannot say, "Oh, wala akong alam dyan." I just had to go along with. But speaking of that, again, this is not to make an apologia for BBM, but don't you think medyo ipit din yung kamay niya? I mean, first of all, because he was part of Uniteam, and then later on, because naging kalaban niya yung mga Dutertes, and then there's an election coming on. Again, this is not to dispense responsibility. This is not to excuse Marcos, but that makes it perhaps understandable why he did not exercise that kind of intervention he should have.
Well, I saw it coming because it's pork barrel. I mean, if you don't veto it, you know where it will go. And that is the modus operandi of all these lawmakers and all these district engineers, flood control projects, because you cannot check it. I mean, it's far away, and it
Or
can be
below, yeah.
washed out. So remember, in the previous the sauna before the last one, he said he bragged about the flood control projects, and suddenly there was a heavy downpour, and everybody, all places were flooded.
Yeah, the Lord was sending a message, I think, as early
So,
as then.
so it
Yeah.
happened again now. So he should. It's a good thing now that he's going to scrutinize the entire DPWH project. He has to do it. I mean, it's the president who proposes the budget in the National Expenditure Program. If Congress takes away the budget for DepEd, for PhilHealth, for AFP modernization, put it in DPWH, you know what that means already. You just have to uh, monitor it if you want it to continue. But if it looks like nobody was watching, even Benoan, because in the reality, the ground, if it's an insertion by Congress, it's supposed to be their pork barrel, and DPWH will not supervise that anymore. That's the unwritten rule. But it's just
Right.
too much now. I mean, because the families of these contractors flaunted their wealth. So I think that's a lesson for the 2026 budget. They have to scrutinize it and really remove uh, all the pork barrel.
Justice, let's talk about this. This is very important, no? So, nung isang the other episode pinag-usapan natin our hopes about the ombudsman. Let's just see who are the final three na will be forwarded to the president as the interviews come in. Although, napansin mo, Justice, mukhang lahat ng mga na-interview ngayon, biglang very strong na sila about lifestyle check, no? Even lifestyle check ng mga anak, no? Kulang na lang, batik kabit, di ba? It looks like they're feeling the pressure, which is good, right? It looks like everyone is feeling the pressure. Something has to be done about it. But of course, having said that, Justice, what we keep on hearing is that we cannot investigate ourselves. We heard that from the Congress. And then now, DPWH, parang tinatanggal yata yung self-investigative anti-corruption unit nila under the new DPWH secretary. Like, so what are they looking for? Like, who's going to come in and do the investigation then? Mga
Well,
Duterte?
I have proposed that there has to be an independent body. You cannot allow the DPWH to investigate themselves, or the Senate to investigate itself, or the House members. It has to be an independent body because, I mean, you can just see what's happening now. They're not calling the culprits now. I mean, this entire flood control project exists because it's placed there by the congressmen, by the senators in the budget. So you have to start with them. And if you want to investigate it, you cannot allow them to investigate it. It has to be an independent body.
So that's correct for them to say, don't expect us to investigate ourselves. But the next move is independent body. So what is that independent body going to look like, Justice? What is the mandate? So as we speak, for instance, again, I'm not sure how independent you can call it, but one proposal is for former PNP chief Torre to take over as some sort of a czar for investigation of the flood control scandals. Some would say baka consuelo lang sa kanya yan. Some are saying maybe he's going to be promoted to his level of incompetence. Some are saying no, maybe he's the perfect guy. And some would say even if he were the perfect guy, he would still be Marcos' guy. So what is going to be the independent body? What are we looking at? What kind of mandate, capacity to make sure yung independent body na yan ay hindi rin ma-co-opt? Kasi, di ba, Justice, we heard yung asawa ng isang COA commissioner ay may contractor din pala. I mean, this is crazy. It's all over the place. We had Heidi Mendoza on this show saying we need fiscal autonomy for COA. Yung mga COA daw, commissioner, binubuli daw during hearings ng mga senador,
Well,
etc. Right? I mean, this is crazy.
you have seen the breakdown of the commissions made by Magalong, and COA is part of there. I mean, they get 1-2%. My proposal is let's have Heidi Mendoza and Cielo Magno chair and co-chair this investigating body. But of course, they will not be appointed because the allies of the president will get hit here.
But probably they need protection too, right? I mean, like this is gonna be scary if you go after them, right? I mean,
Yeah,
maraming babanggaan na malalaking tao dito na
yes.
ano yan, di
I
ba?
mean, their personal safety will be endangered.
Kasi I know this is sounding crazy, but 'di ba yung anti-narcotics, yung counter-narcos units ng Mexico, 'di ba? Naka-mask sila, naka-ganon. Like, should be, I mean, I know we're not like that crazy narcos Mexico, but Justice, I mean, if you really want to go after some of these people, I mean, nakakatakot to, no? You really need hindi lang some independent body, but a well-protected, well-funded, no? Well-supported body.
Yeah. But I think if investigation will be made public, it's easy because, first of all, for the ghost projects, it's very easy. You just go there with the media, and the project is not there, and that's it. And get all the people involved and file charges against them. I think the public must support this investigation. The key here is the public must watch over this investigation very closely. So uh, the this commission that will investigate must be headed, I think, by mostly by private sector. Because if you are in government, somehow uh, there will be pressure on you here.
Should the business sector get involved? We had Apa Ongpin, the executive secretary of Makati Business Club, also saying, the private sector should come in. I mean, in a sense, may mali din yung private sector, although this is not the Makati Business Club version. Ito yung mga, alam mo na, Justice, ito yung mga association ng mga contractors, ng kung ano ng kababalagan ginagawa. Should the big
No, you
boys
can,
na hindi involved sa flood control get involved and help out some? I mean, someone has to build the flood control na proper, right? Like the one we see in Japan.
yeah, well, you cannot involve the contractors here. I mean, they will be, they will obviously be the ones. They are the ones being investigated. So you must look for the likes of Heidi Mendoza and Cielo Magno.
Ako, ang suggestion ko, why not Kiko Pangilinan? Alam mo bakit? Just remember nung elections, ito ang dagat. Yung ganun, parang, ito ang flood control. Tapos there's nothing there. No? I mean, like Kiko could make a joke about it. Or why not Edu Manzano? Justice Carpio, have you seen Edu Manzano sa... Not Edu Manzanas, Ronald Llamas, the actor Edu Manzano. Have you seen all of his sarcastic post about buhay contractor, may umbrella yung kanyang Hermes na Rolls Royce. Baka si Edo Manzana, I'm thinking maybe Edo Manzana should lead this effort, no? He will bring a lot of, he'll shed a lot of light on this issue. Although alam ko naiinggit na si Ronald Llamas kay Edo Manzano. But going back to this, Justice Carpio, let's talk about speaking of Kiko. Kiko recently really got into some sort of tussle with Marcoleta, are very independent, very self-reliant, totally nothing to do with Duterte's and PTP Laban over dito sa investigation na yan. It got even more heated with Lacson when basically sinabi ni Lacson, bakit gusto mo ng away? At sabi nung isa, naiinsulto daw siya. Um, Let's talk about the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing the other day. Mukhang press ko at hindi na British accent si Sarah with H, this guy. What do you think about that? Because Justice Carpio, I think despite the best efforts of some of our DDS friends, it did not make Duterte's look good, right? Like Bato de la Rosa, not once, but twice, made Sarah with H say 2016 talaga nagsimula yung kanilang ligaya, right? Yung big flood control projects until I think nasuspend sila noong 2020. And then you had the situation whereby Soto, sabi na 2016, that was gonna, and then bigla sinabi ni Soto doon sa isang DPWH na yung nag-clear, nagbibigyan ng lisensya, di ba, sa contractors. Di ba you were appointed by President Duterte? Biglang si Mark Caleta, excuse me, Senator, I think you're out of time. I mean, that's this. And then to cap it all, you had Jingo Estrada, the talagang the pillar of integrity, the paragon of good governance, really taking up the cudgels and really going after these guys, these contractors and all of that. Hindi ba convicted siya? But anyway, Justice Carby, like, what do you think of that quote unquote hearing? Was it a clown show? Was it a clown show that actually turned out as a blessing in disguise? Or is it really something that we should dispense with and a real independent committee should be formed? I don't know. So so aside from that independent committee you're talking about, shouldn't there be a bicameral committee or a non-DDS independent committee at least at the level of Senate? What do you think about that?
Well, basically, the rule is you cannot ask the people to investigate when they have a conflict of interest. That's basic. And I think they have a conflict of interest because it was the Senate that allowed uh, the transfer of budgets from PhilHealth, from DepEd, from AFP. They put it in the budget of DPWH for flood control. If you look at, they put it there. See, lumobo yung sa Bulacan, lumobo yung sa Sorsogon. Those are the kay Chis at saka kay Villanueva, the deputy, uh, the, the majority, uh, floor leader. So they really cannot just investigate themselves. It has to be a different body.
Justice, you're so unfair. Did you see the speech of Villanueva? He was so outraged dito sa nagagawa na. Did you see his speech? He was like he was like really, really outraged by the immensity of the corruption of our political system. I don't know, Justice. Mataas kasi ang belief ko sa mga senador natin. Except, didn't Comelec say that multiple senators got direct contribution from contractors, right? Even what food contractor kanina umamin na may direct siyang contribution doon
Yeah,
sa senator. What the heck is going on here, Justice?
that's it. It's not only the senators, also I suppose also the congressman, because that's prohibited directly or indirectly. Even if you say, yung contractor corporation yon, although I'm the majority owner, uh, I gave it personally, hindi naman ako ang kontratista, it's the corporation, eh, directly or indirectly eh. And pag sinabi mo, uh, ano yung corporation na Vizcaya, pag sinabi mo uh, yung one of their corporation, if
St.
you mention
Gerald.
that corporation, she's the financial officer, chief financial, so he controls everything. So whether it's given by the corporation or by the majority controlling owner, pareho yun eh.
I mean,
Directly or indirectly yun eh.
for me, even more interesting is that just a few months ago, ang kwento nila is rags to riches. And then ngayon na they're being accused of robs to riches, biglang ang kwento ay iba. Hindi, matagal na kami mayaman. Contractor nga yung tatay namin eh. Matagal na kami mayaman. Like, the way they're changing their narratives and stories is very interesting. Sabi nga by the way, sinabi ni Diskaya, splice daw yung kanyang videos na sinabi niya na deep. Ngayon sinisisi niya yung mga journalist na nag-interview sa kanya. She's gonna dig it in for herself and everyone, huh? Justice.
uh, Richard, the penalty under the election code is perpetual disqualification to run for public office, to hold public office, if you accept donations from government contractors.
Even
So,
if sabi nung
ang
isang
daming
senador,
matatanggal if you really push it.
hmm, even if sabi nung isang senador yata na, oo, tumulong siya sa akin, pero hindi ko siya tinulungan, so okay lang, quits tayo. Ay, pwede
It
bang
doesn't
ganun?
matter. But
Pwede bang ganun, Justice? Di ko naman siya binigyan ng kontrata para thank you for the money. Pwede bang ganun, Justice?
hindi, kasi ang batas sinasabi lang, you cannot receive contribution. Hindi naman sabi na you cannot receive contribution if you give a contract or wala, period eh.
Parang parang yung ginawa nilang mga Duterte, sabi niya, hindi naman sinabi ni Sara na papatayin niya. Papatayin lang niya pag pinatay siya. Yung mga yung mga conditional murder, yung mga ganun. Qualified murder. So hindi
Well,
qualified naman daw yung support eh.
alam mo matatamaan all the way back to the Duterte administration because si Congressman Pulong got 51 billion for his district.
At kamusta,
51
Justice, you're
billion.
from Davao. Kamusta ang flood control sa Davao? Because just
Well,
last week, I saw 270 districts were severely affected by flooding.
yeah,
That doesn't tell me a lot about the quality of infrastructure under Duterte's.
yeah. I, the Davao, when you should ask, saan yung, where did that 51 billion go? Where are the projects? Where are the flood control projects? the independent commission should be asking those questions.
Maybe the independent commission can look at the lifestyle picture of a lot of our good friends, right? Yung parang build, 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 di ba? Like parang million, million ang ginastos para to have a certain fashion and look, right? Ibang build, build, build yata nangyari, Justice Carpio, over the past decade. Grabe, grabe. I mean, this
You
is
know what struck me was that in the House, the that engineer Alcantara said he was the one who proposed the project. Nobody told him, so he only. So it's the district engineer proposing this project all over again and again.
ito ba yung
There's
may
something
Ferrari?
wrong.
Ito yung may Ferrari at maraming
Ito yung suspend na. But
grabe, busog na busog yung mga district engineers, ah. So, yung palang ano, no?
ghost project,
Ghost ba?
sasabihin niya na hindi ko na bisita pero ano, binigay sa akin yung papeles, pirmado naman ng mga subordinate ko.
Grabe, grabe.
You know, this has to be resolved by the administration the proper way. Uh, this is just too big. You're talking trillions here if you count
Yeah.
from
$10 billion
2016.
is trillions of pesos. Yeah, I mean,
Trillion pesos.
yeah. I mean, okay, this is where just let's have a real talk, right? Because according to Senator Lacson, over the past decade, baka sayang tayo ng up to 1 trillion pesos. Past decade, hindi is past. So, ibig sabihin, at sinabi rin ni Diskaya, nagsimula yung ligaya ng mga katulad nila in 2016. So, isn't it logically correct to start with at least the past 10 years? Hindi lang yung kay
Yeah,
BM, hindi lang yung kay Uniteam. Why not go all the way back to 2016, 15, 14, even 2012? I mean, why shouldn't we do that? Kasi ang nangyari ngayon, nagiging weaponized na to eh. At yung iba naman, good governance, but I've never heard them say anything about Farmali, about Diskaya starting in 2016, then them getting blacklisted, them coming back on their unit team. I mean, that's my worry that this is becoming weaponized and just becoming a political mudslinging. Yung isang batang congressman, inoffer daw siya ng bribe. Last time I checked, yung net worth niya, parang compared sa net worth niya, it's like someone giving me 100 pesos and I'm saying I don't want 100 pesos. Like, I don't know if that should make me a hero, but biglang sangkot daw siguro yung kanyang former rival. Like all I'm saying, Justice, is this could get out of control, right? Like everyone pointing finger at each other. And remember I discussed yung Operation Car Wash in Brazil? Remember during our discussion in
mm,
Manila House? That's exactly what happened in Brazil. The vice president, the president, the speaker of the house, everyone nasangkot, even yung Justice Department later on, yung chief investigators, lahat sila in one way or another, nakulong, na-investiga, ex-president Lula, I mean, it was all over the place. My worry is we might move in that direction. And then, meron ka pang situation, di ba, Justice? Mark Villar, dating DPWH Secretary, nagagalit sa kasalukuyan DPWH Secretary. Tapos nung tinanong, kamusta naman ang master plan mo? Parang wala yata siya mapakita ayon sa Malacanang. Like, what is this? Alam mo, I don't know, just if you have seen that spider, like there's, you know, Spider-Man, right? There's this meme of three Spider-Man looking at each other, like, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Like, so in short, Justice, this could explode, right? This could explode in Marcos' face. I mean, this could go in many wrong directions.
yeah. The way I look at it, he cannot escape responsibility because napasok sa budget niya eh. It's his budget. He approved the budget. He did not veto the 421 billion. That's the low end. If you follow Cheese, it's 600 billion. So he can escape responsibility here. So he has to correct this and show that ito, naayos ko.
This is really a big problem. I have no envy for the next ombudsman. Now, in the meantime, Justice, paano natin i-channel yung galit ng tao in a way that becomes constructive? A, meaning it doesn't turn into support for, I don't know, some coup d'etat, dictatorship, RevGov. B, in terms of making sure hindi lang tayo nag-rant online and name and shame pero wala rin nangyari at the end of the day. Baka mamaya iba na naman ang news cycle next month. Nakalimutan na naman natin to. I'm also worried about that na baka After 1 month, 2 months, makalimutan na naman natin to and then we'll just accept it as business as
Yeah,
usual.
that's why I'm saying it should be an independent commission, and I'm recommending Heidi and Shielo and some others, and we should be there. We should watch it. This, the citizens should watch it because huling-huli ito eh. Huling-huli sila lahat dito. Ghost project eh. At saka nakita mo naman, walang bakal. The way they built those uh, dikes, walang bakal. Talagang guguho yun.
And may have made the
And
flood
may pirma
worse.
lahat sila eh. They
Mm.
signed off eh. They accepted the check. They signed the contract. This is it already eh.
May smoking
Pwede
gun
natin
talaga.
ituwid. We start with this.
Smoking gun, smoking gun. Should we build new jails, Justice Carpio? Maybe we can get new contractors to build their own jail. I mean, like, sa daming ng baka kailangan natin ng bagong bagong contractor projects. Medyo marami po tayong mga bagong kaibigan. We should put them in their own. Parang yung jail ni Pablo Escobar, he made his own jail. You know that story, Pablo Escobar? He made his own jail, right? So maybe this contractor should make now their own jail and start relocating na, di ba?
Baka ma-wash out yung jail nila pag may ulan.
Then that's good, exactly. Like, baka, sa sarili nilang jail, they will corrupt it, ghost project, next thing you know, sila pa yung madisgrasya dyan sa jail nila. But Justice Carver, I mean, this is so crazy. I'm like, it's such a tragic comedy situation. But, speaking of that, bare months na, and September is going to be a big month, Justice Carpio. We're going to the latter part of our discussion. ICC. So in the coming weeks, papunta na tayo dyan sa, some would say, the trial of the century. For the first time in history, an Asian leader or a former head of state of an Asian nation is going to face confirmation of charges on crimes against humanity dyan sa ICC. How do you see that coming, Justice Carpio? How worried are you? How encouraged are you? Kasi Justice Carpio, parang purong talo yung moves nila Kaufman, no? They try to disqualify the judge, interim release, disqualify Karim Khan, lahat, walang, hindi gumana eh. PR na lang yata sila ngayon. Tapos they're trying to kick out also Harry Roque, hindi rin gumagana. Like, I'm not sure what's the success rate here.
Well, I've been saying uh, the evidence against foreign President Duterte is overwhelming because publicly, under oath in the Senate and in the House, he admitted everything. And that's admissible. Inamin niya lahat eh. So it's you just play the video of the hearings in the Senate and the House. Inamin niya lahat. And that's admissible in evidence. Sabi niya, bilis-bilisan ninyo, baka mamatay ako. You tell the ICC to come here fast, to hurry up because baka mamamatay ako.
Oh, and then sabi niya, uupakan ko sila pag nandito sila. Then 2 days later, hindi niya masabi yung pangalan niya. Rua, ganun siya. Anyway, do you expect him, Justice Carpio, as a fellow Davaoenyo, do you expect Duterte to come out strong, guns blazing, or do you expect him to play more drama, frail, play the sympathy card? What is your guess? What kind of
Well,
Duterte we're gonna
he
see
will
September
act
23?
precisely the way he acted when he first appeared.
Frail and paawa effect and all that.
Yes. You cannot grandstand here. I mean, yeah,
They will shut you down immediately. Like,
he cannot threaten the judges here like he's been threatening everybody here in the Philippines. Iba doon. I mean, they take those threats seriously. You will be digging your own grave if you do that.
and the Dutch people are the tallest people on earth. Like, yung mga policeman nila, Vikings, they're like 6'5", 6. Yung mga babae pa lang nila, mas matangkad sa akin, they're like 6'1", 6'2". This is Netherlands. You don't mess around with them, no? But speaking of this, Justice, I mean, what are you expecting there? Because some would say it could be a multi-day affair. So hindi lang confirmation of judges, the defense might be given some time, the
Yes,
prosecution might
well,
say something about the witnesses, and what are the things we're looking forward to?
because if they really want to include other accused like uh, Senator Bato, Abayalde, and all the rest, they have to issue the warrant of arrest before the trial starts because uulitin mo lahat eh.
Ah, right. So, oh wow. So the next 2 weeks could be important for Bato.
Yeah, yes, all those who will be included should be issued warrants of arrest before the trial starts. Because uulitin mo yan pag so it doesn't make sense to delay anymore, no? So we should be getting new
All right.
names. If
Exactly.
we don't get new names, yun na yun. Mag-iisa siya.
Kawawa naman. Akala ko loyal soldier si Bato. Di ba Duterte implicated Bato doon sa Senate hearing? Di ba he said, ito si Bato, di ba ginanon niya? I mean, what else are we looking for? I don't get it.
You know, that's admissible in evidence. Ah.
Exactly, like, although, I don't know, some were saying they won't be surprised Bato goes there voluntarily and tries to cooperate or something like that. Voluntary cooperation, because that's an option. Or just go there and taunt the ICC. I don't know. I mean, that's quite
Uh,
interesting. But that's also my
I
worry.
don't think he'll ever do that.
Yeah, you don't think he's brave enough. But just to spell it out. But just as if Bato is issued the warrant of arrest in the coming days, ang worry ko is mawala naman yung news cycle kasi, di ba? It will be again another completely different drama. Knowing Bato, he will be the best actor, FAMAS, Oscars, everything, right? He will be our official entry for Oscars and Eurovision, ano, di ba? So, my fear is that as much as
Well,
I want,
actually, di ba tinanong si ES Bersamin, Executive Secretary Bersamin, what will the administration do if a warrant of arrest is issued against additional people like uh, like Senator Bato? Well, we will have to do the same thing.
and if you're Jesus Cadera right now, who is kind of in hot waters, you don't wanna, right? You don't wanna be a hero on this side of the story, right? My sense is, Cheese has been very quiet. Have you noticed, Justice? Hindi na siya nagsasalita. Wala na siyang press conference. He's
Sino?
just quiet. Cheese Escudero. He's like, he's out of view. Let's talk less mistake.
Well, he has a serious case because he got a donation of 30 million from a contratista. Oh, then one of the 15 mentioned by the president. Of
Yeah,
course, sasabihin niya, that's a contribution of the individual, not the
company.
contractor.
Uh-huh.
But ang batas naman directly or indirectly. At
So,
saka kontrolado ng yung ng tao yun eh.
so Comelec should file a case of disqualification against
They're
Escudero.
investigating now. That's
Right.
preparatory to
So
case.
pwede siya kasuhan ng Comelec.
Yes, madami
Right.
sila. About 30 daw eh.
Oh, wow. Grabe ang Comelec, ah. They have a lot on their shoulders. Well, they have to be as supported as possible. Grabe, Justice. Ang dami pwedeng biglang kalahati ng Senado ay medyo. I mean, this is so crazy, Justice. I mean, did you ever think we'll reach this point, Justice Carpio? I mean, in every sense of the word.
Well, ano, uh, it's because it's an act of God. Kasi pag hindi umulan, walang floods, hindi natin malaman.
Napaulit-ulit. Napaulit-ulit. Like,
Ulit-ulit. Oh.
yeah, no chance to forget. Like, no, you have to pay attention to this, no?
That's an act of God.
Although
Eh,
I have to, yeah.
pag uulan pa ito, baka dami pang lalabas dyan.
So we should pray for more rain so that talagang hindi makalimutan ng tao na habang dinadala si Bato sa eroplano na ilalabas at may rain din at the same time, no? Talaga for people, very dramatic, no? Kailangan natin ng very dramatic moment, denouement dito sa ating politika. Crazy, Justice. So, Justice, where does that leave our fears of RevGov and all of that? Do you think there's now momentum for a kind of a more constitutional approach to this? That there's a political consensus building behind this independent commission you're talking about, a kind of a more mobilized, organized approach. I mean, what do you think about this Mayors for Good Governance League? Na, even Senator, sorry, Lenny has joined that. I think no longer na as observer status, but just as a member. Vico is really stepping up. I mean, Vico Soto is clearly the man of the moment. Our own Mayor Magalong He's not saying much on the Duterte era, but at least the guy is saying a lot on corruption. What do you think about this Mayor for Good Governance movement?
Well, I think the focus should be on that independent commission because that's the mechanism to hold to account all of these people involved in this flood control scam. No, so they should help, and we should push for the creation of this independent commission and see to it that the people there are people like Heidi Mendoza and Cielo Magno,
Beyond
and we
repair.
should support them. We should, the civil society should support, and maybe the group of Magalong, Lenny should be supportive because this is the process where we can hold them to account. Eh. At saka public ito, makikita eh. If we don't do it this way, walang mangyari.
And what about yung idea of national summit by the Supreme Court or something? I think Justice Ascuna was talking sa yung parang national summit or something like that. Justice Ascuna was saying that the Supreme Court, was it back in 2007, called something like that. Like, can the Supreme Court get involved in some sort of supporting a judicial mechanism to look at, given the scale of this scandal?
Well, ano yun, that's proposal for legislation. Pero ito, investigation na ito eh. So, who can investigate? The House, the Senate, the DOJ, the NBI, but you cannot leave it to them because they're part of it. Eh. So it has to be an independent commission and supported by really, this should be driven by civil society. Because the alternative is if we don't solve this problem, then RevGov will gain ground.
And just look at Indonesia, right? It took one spark,
Yeah.
one crazy thing, and the whole
Yeah.
thing fell apart.
This
Yeah.
is the way to tell the people there is a legal way to resolve this, a constitutional way to resolve this. If we don't do it, then you will have uh, an argument to use the Indonesian example.
Yeah, the Indonesian way. Justice, we're about to end this because we started a bit late, but I hope, Justice, I've entertained you enough. Kasi ang dami nagsabi, parang Richard, ikaw lang yata nagpapatawa ng big time sa mga ex-justices and all of that. Just to be clear, we are serious people. It's just that it's so crazy. Sometimes we want to process it. Now, speaking of crazy, Justice Carpio, I don't know how proud you are of this lawyer, Jimmy Bondok. I don't know if you know that guy. Naging attorney pala siya, di ba? Ito yung naggigitara. Ito yung tumakbong PDP laban for Senate. Hanggang ngayon, hindi na tananggap yung talo niya. Ang layo niya para makapal. But anyway, sabi ni Jimmy Bondok, isang ka-DDS natin na kaibigan, na lawyer na pala, hindi ko alam kung saan nag-aral, but anyways, naging lawyer, sabi niya, ICC daw ang dapat pumasok. Justice, parang, wait lang, that's an interesting argument. Like, that was really like wild. That was wild. Just, should the ICC, kasi crimes against humanity daw, itong flood na to, itong mga kababuyan na ginawa. But that's quite a curious legal position to say the least, Justice. As a jurist, Justice, what do you have to say to this neophyte, quote-unquote, lawyer, whatever he is? Yeah.
Well, wala pang jurisprudence that a flood control project is a crime against humanity.
It is a crime, right? I mean, just to be clear, it is a crime. Ang point ko lang is, I find it so weird for these people to attack ICC for going against literally mass murder. And then now suddenly they want the same ICC to come in and investigate flood control issues. And I mean, like, this is, ano ba tingin nila sa ICC? Parang isang araw kidnapper, the next day savior. I mean, the DDS logic is very interesting.
Well, first of all, we are not a member of ICC now.
Oh, by the way, yeah, he also forgot to mention we have to rejoin the, like,
We have to rejoin first.
kung ikaw ang ICC Justice, biglang may tawag sa'yo. We fervently hope that you will come and help us with flood control project. Signed by, ito, PDP Laban members. Ganun. Ano bang sasabihin mo, Justice Carpio, after you have been accused of being a kidnapper, colonizer? Ano kaya maging reaction? Do you encourage Jimmy Bondok to make a legal request to the ICC to come in with this investigation?
Well, what he should do is campaign first that we rejoin. Because that's putting the cart before the horse.
Right. But I still doubt that ICC kakagat yan, no? I mean, this is quite a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a stretch. Yeah, because
Stretch, but
we're not a member.
yeah, but stretching is something our DDS friend. Ito yung mga ano, gusto ko itong mga taon to, Justice, yung galit ng galit sa flood control scandal, sa corruption. Pero todo depensa sa confidential fund ni Sara Duterte. Like, I really never understood those people. How can you be against corruption and all, and then suddenly, oh, no, 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 kailangan ng confidential fund, okay lang naman, million lang naman pinag-usapan natin. I mean, Justice Carpio, how do you think, what do you think is happening to Sara Duterte? She's becoming a travel vlogger bang tawag dyan? She's going all around the world learning best practices now. She's giving advice on flood control to BBM. What do you say about that, Justice?
Well, he should give the advice to his brother, to her brother.
Which brother? Kasi purong problematic lang.
51 billion yung pera ni Pulong eh. So maybe Pulong can tell us how he solved the flood control, the flood problem in Davao.
Well, I'm sure he has his own ways of solving things, but I'd rather not go into details. On that note, thank you very much, Justice Carpio, for humoring us with one of the most depressing topics that we can discuss, which is our corruption is now 50 times worse than Napoles time. We went from Napoles to Nepo babies. It just tells you how dangerous is that degradation of democratic institution in the Philippines. And mabuhay ka. Maraming salamat sa iyo, Justice Carpio, for being so publicly active. I mean, Justice Carby, you could have lived a refined, rarefied life, right? Go around the world, give lectures on UNCLOS, West Philippine Sea. Pero parang paras tayo ng trajectory, no, Justice? Medyo, as much as we love West Philippine Sea, parang wait lang. Ligtas muna natin tong bansa natin. Baka wala ng bansa before we even save West Philippine Sea, right?
Eh baka balunod na tayo, mawawala tayo sa island.
Before maprotektan, by the time tumingin tayo sa likod, wala na yung ano, yung mainland, di ba? Biglang andito lang tayo sa dagat. So, oh my goodness, que horror. But on that note, thank you so much. Mabuhay ka, Justice Carpia. I hope you enjoyed, if I could use the term, this latest episode of the tragic comedy that is the Philippines, the most amazing country, the most wonderful country. On that note, salamat, Justice, and see you soon. God bless po.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you to our viewers.
Salamat, Justice.